My dear friends, today of Shabbos, Chav Dalet Teves, the Yohrtzeit of the Alter Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad movement, the author of the Tanya, founder of the Chabad, the intellectual dimension of Chassidic philosophy, whose Yohrtzeit is today. I always tell a story on Friday, so let me first share a story with the Alter Rebbe and continue with another story. The Alter Rebbe was living upstairs, and his son, the Mittel Rebbe, was living downstairs. Both were concentrated in study in their own room, in their own quarters. In the room of where the Mittel Rebbe was learning, there was a baby in a crib, and the baby fell out of the crib and started hollering. But the Mittel Rebbe was so concentrated in his learning that he didn't hear anything. The Alter Rebbe was upstairs, he did hear, although he was concentrated in learning. Came downstairs, picked up the baby, calmed the baby, put the baby back in the crib, left the room, and the Mittel Rebbe was oblivious, he didn't hear anything. At a later occasion, the Alter Rebbe reprimanded his son and said, it is inconceivable that learning Torah will stop you from hearing a baby's cry. If one learns Torah the way it's supposed to, you become more sensitive to the cry of the baby, and you will hear it. The Alter Rebbe basically says the message over here, that the Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe himself, although concentrated in the learning, he heard the baby's cry, every baby. Last night, in honor of this date of Chav Dalet Teves, we have a privilege to have Reb Nissen Mangel, a great chassid, brilliant mind, Holocaust survivor, at the age of 11, all alone, was part of the Death March, the infamous Death March, and survived. So he's a miracle in itself. But I'm not here now to tell stories about him. I just want to share a story that he shared last night, that he heard firsthand from Reb Wolf Gringlas. Reb Wolf Gringlas was a local mashpia, great chassid, great Kabbalist. In fact, the Rebbe called him my Mekubal, my Kabbalist. So Reb Wolf, wife, every time she had to give birth, was another miracle, was a challenge. One particular time, she's already in the birthing room, husband is outside, and the doctor comes running out and says, Rabbi, I need your signature to allow me to abort the baby, because the position that the baby is in, it is impossible that the baby should come out alive. So the only option is, unfortunately, to do an abortion. Reb Wolf, shocked, says, give me a moment. That was in the middle of the night. He called the Rebbe's secretary, who immediately called the Rebbe, informed the Rebbe the situation, asking what to do. The secretary comes back with the Rebbe's answer, that please tell the doctor to do everything he can to save the baby, and everything should be fine. Comes back to the doctor, please do whatever you can. I know that, says the doctor to the rabbi. Nevertheless, please. Okay? I'll go back and try. After a moment of doing what he's supposed to do, he says, the situation has become even worse. At this moment, mother and baby's life are in danger. And if I don't do immediately an abortion, your wife's life is also at stake. Give me a few moments. I'll be back soon. Runs back to the phone, calls Rabbi Groner, who calls the Rebbe, and gives the latest report. And the Rebbe once again responded, tell the doctor you should do whatever he can, and the Rebbe gave a bracha, everything should be fine. He comes back to the doctor, now the doctor is already upset, and he says, please do what you can. So the doctor tells Rabbi Wolf, you have more kids at home, go home, I'll do whatever I can. 4 o'clock in the morning, he gets a phone call from the doctor. Mazel tov, mother and baby are both fine. What time was the baby born? Now. Perfect. He calls immediately the secretary to notify the Rebbe, the Besura Tova, that baby and mother are fine. Rabbi Groner comes back and says the Rebbe wants to know what time the baby was born. You said 4 o'clock, but according to the Rebbe's estimation, the baby should have been born at 3:30. And the Rebbe wants to know exactly what time the baby was born. Finds out from the doctor that indeed the nurses wrote 4 o'clock, but the baby was actually born 3:30. But then the doctor asks, why is it so important to know that baby was born 3:30 or 4 o'clock? And Rebbe Wolf says, actually to me it makes no difference. But the Rebbe in New York, he wants to know. Why does the Rebbe in New York want to know? Find out for me. So Rabbi Groner transmits to the Rebbe that the doctor wants to know what time the baby was. What time, why is it so relevant to the Rebbe, what time the baby was born? And the Rebbe responded, because as long as she couldn't give birth, as long as she was in danger, I couldn't sleep. At 3:30, I was able to sleep. So I figured that's when the baby was born. Hearing the cry of a baby. That's what the Rebbe is. And we're all his babies. So may we already hear and see him in the Beis HaMikdash this Shabbos.